Welcome to another daily live webcast called Jenn Cast. This is episode 74, and today's guest, well, first of all, it's Members Only Monday, so we're talking all about young female entrepreneurs, and today's guest is a young female entrepreneur. Her name is Gabrielle Norton, and she is the founder of Cause We Can events, or Cause We Can events, and she has a very interesting background. I love her niche. I think all of you are going to really relate to it. But she's going to talk to us a little bit about event planning and all of that fun stuff around entrepreneurship. So, you again are watching Jenn Cast. I'm your host, Jennifer Donogh. You can tweet me at Jennifer Donogh and use the hashtag Jenn Cast. And then let's go ahead and bring Gabrielle on right away. Gabby, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I almost said thank you for joining us this morning, but we're recording this live at noon on the West Coast. I'm up here in the Seattle area, and you're down in LA. So now tell us about how you got to LA, because like we were talking before this, you're actually French-Canadian. Mm-hmm. So you moved down to LA, and now you're running an event planning business that specializes in, I'm looking at the wrong camera, that specializes in, this is an interesting day, it's a Monday, right? It specializes in more of like the nonprofit, social type of an aspect where you're actually helping out an organization. So tell us more about how you got this.
So my fourth year of college, I went to University of Ottawa in Canada, and I volunteered to do this annual gala for a marketing competition. I was like, you know what, extra credits, let's do it. And it was about 125 people. I had a few months to organize this kind of big event, and it was crazy, chaotic. I was running all over the place, and frantic, meeting new people, meeting vendors. And at the end of the event, I was like, that was awesome. Let's do this every day, all day for the rest of my life. So I knew that's what I wanted to do, event planning. And I was studying marketing at the time. So it was kind of along the lines. I had at least a good background for that. And winter in Canada is brutal. If you've ever been, I recommend only going during summer, especially on the East Coast. But I decided I needed to move to warmer weather, and I have dual citizenship, fortunately. And so I kind of packed up my car and moved out with a friend to California. And I was staying in Pasadena at the time, kind of just sleeping on her couch and not too sure what to do, where to get a job. And I decided to just reach out to event planners in the Pasadena area at the time, and see if they could use an intern. And I mean, at least I'll get my foot in the door somehow. And started interning, met some people I really connected with, but then met some event planners that I just knew wasn't going to be a good fit. And I knew, I started to develop what I liked in events and what I didn't like in events. And eventually, I started realizing at the end of all these big events, the client goes home, that's kind of that. We get paid, we clean up, and then you move on to the next event. That's, the guests go home, that's it. So I thought, it'd be really cool to bring in some sort of giving back at the end of the event. So for a while, I continued to intern and just develop my style. And eventually, about a year and a half ago, I was like, I'm just gonna start it. What do I have to lose? So I started a little business, event planning business called Cause We Can Events, and I call it Eco Chic Event for Causes. So I try to bring in some sort of eco chic element, whether it's like recycled wine bottle, flour, something like that, or I make signs. I have a sign with lights that I made. I test it out, and then regardless of the event, whether it's a wedding, an eco wedding, or whether it's a nonprofit event, I donate about 10% back of my event planner fee to a charity of the client's choice. So from there, it's just kind of developed and has grown slowly but surely. And I love, the clients I'm getting. It's way more along the lines of how I am as a person and the type of events that I want to do. And it leaves just a really good feel at the end of the event that we were able to help out a little bit, whether it's $100 or $20 at the end, it helps.
Well, it's an interesting concept because it's very niche in the idea that, you really are serving a specific type of person that is interested in giving back and finds, because what you're doing is you're differentiating yourself against, hundreds of other wedding planners out there or corporate event planners. You're looking specifically at people that want to give back and are interested in that beyond just a fantastic event, right?
Right. And it's interesting because I've attracted a certain type of client, because you said it's a niche market, and I'm not attracting bridezillas, and I hate to say it, but it's also not who I want to work with, which is good. I'm not looking for the big production type of person or event. I want, someone who's grounded, down to earth, and they really value giving back. So
that's a great point.
It's been really pleasant to work, even if I'm putting in a lot of hours for a certain person, I just love working with that client because they're laid back and they, love their life too. And it's, they're not as high maintenance as what a lot of event planners might get.
Well, and I think anyone can relate to that as far as deciding. I mean, you didn't go out there and say, I only take clients that care about giving back or care about making a bigger impact on the world. You've just built your business around that type of a model. And I feel like whether you're a graphic designer or you're a photographer or whatever it is, if you're doing service-based business, you're really trying to get the perfect client, and we've all had those bridezillas, whether we're in event planning or not. And so I think that's such a brilliant idea. So now, as far as event planning goes, are you working because I'm looking at your website right now at some of the examples of the people that you're working with. Now, is it primarily that you're working with consumers, or is it more of a B2B type of a thing?
Interesting. I thought it would maybe end up being B2B for a while, but I get both. It's harder for B2B because they usually have their in-house event planners. If it's a nonprofit themselves, they'll have their in-house planner, but sometimes they will hire me as a third party or more of a consulting type situation. But a lot of the times I will get someone who is attached in a way, has their own small business. So for example, in October it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I had a photographer who makes these breast cancer calendars. They're pinup girl calendars, and all the models are breast cancer survivors. It's an awesome product.
Oh, that's cool.
And she is affiliated with this other nonprofit group who gives back to breast cancer survivors. And so she hired me as the planner to do a launch party for her calendar. So kind of a promotional event, but at the same time, it was a celebration. The models, the breast cancer survivors were there. And then we donated part of the proceeds from that night, and along with, part of my the proceeds I donate back to the charity she was affiliated with. So it's these interesting connections. You get a little bit of both, but not necessarily big organizations unless they need a third party to come and assist their in-house planner. But, I'll get weddings, something that might not have anything to do with giving back, but the client themselves tend to be a little more philanthropic, and they're so happy that at the end of the event we do give back. So
yeah, well, it goes back to what you said. It's basically aligning yourself with that type of a client, the person that is laid back and fun loving. I mean, you're an LA girl, French Canadian, Los Angeles, and the Instagram pictures that you put up, I'm always envious of. I think you were working at the beach over the weekend or last week.
Oh yeah, what was that action? It was like it was the selfie action, I think. Yeah. And it was just a beach picture. I had a friend in town, and that's, a perk of having your own business is I can work on rainy days and then choose beach days for my Monday.
So for everyone else that wants that type of a lifestyle, let's say that there's a female out there that is interested in getting into event planning. What advice would you give her?
I'd say reach out. First, find some mentors. I've got a great group of women from all ages. I mean, some are my age that have been in the business for a long time, for, family business or something like that, and some that are older and have been running an event business. And of course, they're not exactly my type of event, exactly how my business model is, but they have some great qualities in them that I admire. And we meet for coffee. I just actually scheduled a meeting next week with one of my mentors, and we just meet, we talk about events, and often we'll hire each other on to assist our events. So it's fun because they give us some input, or they help us out if we need kind of an assistant.
Oh, so that's interesting. So you're actually speaking with these other event planners, and they're providing you with work. So they could be seen as competitors.
Yeah, and yes. And at first, I was afraid to kind of reach out to them. I didn't want them to think, oh my gosh, this new girl just, landed in LA, and now she's going to try to take all our clients. But we are so different. We're similar because we, do events, but we're so different. We all have our niche market. And we were talking over coffee, like this one girl, Preppy Chic Events, she is also in kind of Manhattan Beach, South Bay area, but she has this certain type of a client that she attracts. Again, like her website says something different than what mine says, which mine is under construction, by the way. But we attract different types of clients, and we're not stepping on each other's feet at all. So it's nice that we can be really honest, and we've talked about money, we've talked about advertising, we've talked about networking, and she has been phenomenal. I mean, and she's maybe in her early 30s.
Well, and like you said, don't be afraid to reach out to those people, because
right.
I mean, if you would have just been nervous about it, then you would never have all of those awesome connections. So, Gabby, what about an entrepreneur that's on the flip side? That is, I mean, we were talking about this before the live broadcast. We all know that planning events is absolutely essential. Like you said, there's book launches, calendar launches. We have launches all the time. We need promotional materials always going out, that type of a thing. So for us, what should we be, first of all, let's talk about it and the hiring aspect. So if I want to plan or if I want to hire an event planner to put out that launch, because like I said, I am not an event planner. I don't like planning events. I've planned them in the past, and they're so stressful. So if I want to hire an event planner, first of all, what type of cost are we looking at? How do you budget that out, basically? Am I paying you for your hours or for like a contract type of a thing? And also, what are the expectations that you set out with the client? What are the actual things that you're going to deliver on at the end of it?
Good question. I think pricing has been the hardest thing for me to talk to other planners about, because it's so personalized, so customized to what the bride, for example, wants. For day of coordination, you usually see day of, meaning you just go there for the day, whether it's a wedding, or a promotional event. I call it still day of anyway. Anywhere between, I'd say $1,100 to $1,500 would be for a full setup, takedown, and then coordinating vendors. And for me, day of, I include also the day before, where I just call everyone to confirm this is where you're going to be. If they have questions, they can call me. And of course, I'm not, if they call me 3 days before and they have a question, I'm not going to screen their call and say, no, this is not day of. But so that's kind of for quote unquote day of. And then
that sounds fabulous. By the way, as anyone that's planned an event before, having someone take care of all that stuff sounds amazing.
Well, and I just met with a bride yesterday who's having a wedding in Lake Arrowhead, and her biggest stress for all of this, I said, I'll be there, the whole day. You don't have to worry about things. Her biggest stress is, who can I come over to her place 3 days before and pick up the stuff that just needs to be brought to the venue? And I'm okay to do that. So there's some people that are like, no, it's not part of my thing. I'm like, if that is the most stressful part for you, is that you might forget, your packing list, I will come, we will check it off as we go. I'll put it in my car and I'll bring it to the site, So I feel like you tailor it to the client. And it also goes with your personality. Like, I'm just someone that, yes, I don't want you to be stressed out. I'm happy to do that. If, it's an extra couple of hours out of my day, fine. But
and that's really why you're getting hired. I mean, I might be speaking out of turn here, but that you're alleviating stress from your client. And so that might come in different ways. And I think that's awesome of you as a business owner to realize that and go out from your comfort zone and saying, oh, I can't come to your house. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to deal with it yourself.
Right. I feel so bad saying that. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, so prices, I mean, and again, some are really customized, like weddings. There's, gosh, you could have, $100,000 wedding. You can probably make it on a $5,000 wedding. But the event planner fee for a wedding is more than a promotional event. There's just a lot more
I bet.
coordination going on, and you have so many vendors to group together. Some brides take care of all the vendors. They just want you to show up for, setup that happens. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say exactly per event, but promotional events is sort of similar along the lines of a day of, somewhere around $1,400, $1,500, depending.
Well, and I hope people will start adding that into their budgets, because I feel like that would make everyone's lives so much easier. If you're putting on an event, consider adding that event planner, and it'll probably make it so much more effective. Your event's going to actually, happen and look great and feel great, and people will leave happy versus you saying, gosh, that was horrible. So, Gabby, where can everyone find out more about you? Because you've given us a lot of information as far as any service provider can, we can all take advantage of, whether it's finding the right client, making sure our services are tailored to alleviating the stress or whatever pain point it is that we're solving for that day. And then also for people that are interested in starting events, you talked about getting a mentor, not worrying about reaching out to those women, even if they are considered a competitor, because great things can happen. So Gabby, where can people find out more about you after this?
My website is under construction, but you can find me at causewaycanevents.com. I'm active on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so it's Causeway Can Events on Facebook, and Twitter, Causeway Can Event, no S. And then Instagram is my full name, Gabrielle Norton. So I should probably, I'm thinking I should probably have a Causeway Can Event Instagram, but for now it's there. And I'm happy to mentor as much as I can. I'm still new in the business, but if anyone wants to reach out and grab coffee, I'm happy to do that. And I also recommend coming to our YFE LA events. Myself and Katie Bresick, who was interviewed, I think, a few weeks ago, have an event, a networking event once a month, usually the first Tuesday of the month. And we post it on the YFE LA Facebook page and on our own personal pages. And it's fun. I mean, we get anywhere between 10 to 30 women, depending. We bounce around LA. We try to hit up different locations. And our next event is going to be in Culver City. It's a spa night, so we're going to get nice and pretty. We have a photo booth coming. It's going to be tons of fun. And it's on Wednesday night. April 2nd is a Tuesday. April 2nd is a Tuesday.
Yay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
Well, Gabby, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so grateful. Like I said, I love the idea of niching yourself in this type of a market, and we've talked a couple times over the phone, and you're always so much fun and so bubbly and so energetic to talk to you. So again, thank you for coming today. Thanks so much, Jen. I'll talk to you soon. All right, everyone, so we've just been listening to Gabrielle Norton. She's the founder of Causeway Can Events, and again, she's all about serving those that want to give back in the form of event planning, and what a cool niche to be in, right? So you've been watching the daily live webcast called Jenn Cast. This is our last week of doing these live events. I am going to do a baby thing soon. So I'm trying to plan for that. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, we're trying out different music providers for Try It Out Tuesday. And Wednesday, we have Winning Wednesday. We have the writer behind lifeafterliquidity.com. He's going to be telling us about what it looks like to have your company acquired. And I think you're all going to really love that one. So hopefully you can show up. This has been Jennifer Donogh. Thank you so much for tuning in live.